My mother had a very great friend who was a physiotherapist in the Second World War, had been to Egypt and worked with New Zealand troops. As a small girl, I very much admired this family friend and decided I would like to either be a nurse or be like this great family friend whose name was Joan Bull. She's a very early physio. Anyway, I left school and applied for physio school in Dunedin to be told I was too young. So I filled in a year at home in an accountant's office and I got accepted the next year. 18 years was a very strong prerequisite. You weren't allowed to sneak in if you were 17, and this was the beginning of it. I was there for 2 years in Dunedin, private board for the first year and the second year in a physio flat with 3 other girls. I think one of the fondest memories I have was my introduction to snow and skiing and boyfriends. And as my mother said, I think you found a snowman down there. And I said, well, perhaps I have. In the end, I didn't marry that one, but I married someone else. But coming from the North Island, skiing and snow were quite remarkable to me. Also, in my second year down there, we were asked to line up one day and any girls who would like to go into the capping ballet, which was, when I think of it, I thought it was really now just those other male students looking at our legs to choose us, which I'm sure that's what they were doing. Anyway, it was a great time to be involved in capping. It's not nearly the raucous, awful thing it is these days, where they burn sofas and things like that, where my grandchildren are down there. But I really loved the friendship, the fun, and there wasn't even too much drunkenness in those days. So that was perhaps one of the memories of my time in Dunedin. Well, student life within the physiotherapy building was definitely run to timetable. We had lectures, anatomy and physiology lectures always given by a young medical student. We had this strange subject called electrotherapy, which was rather weird, and we were introduced to all these various machines, electrical circuits, which I'm quite sure none of us really knew much about, but frightened of. And that was for the first 6 months. A fairly strict routine with a whole afternoon devoted to actually massage. And also the other strange, when I think back now, subject was something called Swedish Remedial Exercises, SRE, which bored us silly, but we had to do it. I've even got a book about it still. Then we had to also make sure that we passed those 6-month exams before we were allowed to proceed to the rest of the training. After the 6 months, if you passed, we graduated most spectacularly to a white uniform. Prior to that, the uniform was beige, rather like a prison. To get into a white uniform with a little white cap, we thought we were Christmas. Anyway, and also we were delegated certain jobs in teams around the hospital, into the wards, children's wards, orthopaedic wards, neurological wards, and also we spent a lot of time in outpatients, which gave a very good service to the population of Dunedin in those days, because it was all free. In particular, we liked treating the All Blacks' knees. And there were quite a few famous All Blacks in Dunedin at that time. And so the second year was completed, and then the third year, the first 6 months, we put down a preference for which city we wanted to be sent to. I put down Auckland, as I was a North Islander. There was also Wellington and Christchurch. I don't think anybody went to Dunedin because they had enough students down there. And we were allotted a tutor, and we spent all the time in Auckland in the wards between the different hospitals. We spent six weeks at Wilson Home, Children's Home, Green Lane Hospital, National Women's, and Auckland Public. Roughly 6 weeks between all those, with tutorials in the afternoon. I think we went to all those hospitals in the morning and had to be back for tutorials by 2 o'clock, as far as I can remember. Then we had to go in September or October. We returned to Dunedin to sit our finals, and we were there 6 weeks to 2 months. The difficulty was finding accommodation for such a short time. I found accommodation with a dear little old lady who lived in the bowels underneath the cathedral in the Octagon, whose husband had been the organist. So she was very kind to me, but I still had to cook my own sausage and Brussels sprouts every night. But she was kind. And we went to a few balls, and we sat our exams, and on graduation we had the big graduation ball, which was a great thing. And then we decided we all went in different directions by the end of that year.